MAC kind of snuck up with us with a brand new lip release. These are called the Dazzlelip Crayons. And I picked up a few shades a couple of weeks ago and tried them out and enjoyed them so much that I thought I would go ahead and make a dedicated video to a bunch of shades. I picked up the shades that I could see myself getting the most use out of. If you like really bright lip colors though, there are some beautiful options. These are definitely unlike any lip products that I've really tried from MAC before. They have a buildable opacity and a frost finish. And they come in these pencil applicators that have a cap, and you can actually roll them up to distribute more product. And at the time that I'm making this video, these are available at MAC and on Ulta. They retail for $28 a piece. First, we have the shade Crown Jewel, and this is described as having a sheer base with golden sparkle throughout. For each and every shade that I try on, I'm also going to try it over a deeper base just so that you can see what it looks like. Because actually, I think these make for beautiful toppers and is definitely how I will use some of these shades. I specifically picked up Crown Jewel because I wanted to see how this one would look topped over other lip products. On its own, it really isn't very visible, at least on me and for the type of effect that I would want to go for. It feels comfortable, it doesn't feel drying on the lips, doesn't really feel gritty. Maybe if you're very sensitive to sparkle, you would notice it a little bit. And then I'm going to take Crown Jewel and I'm going to top it over Film Noir. Film Noir is incredibly deep. I would describe it as like a slightly reddish toned brown shade. On me, I consider it a very deep nude tone. You can see that adding it over top of Film Noir just changes the appearance of the lipstick a little bit. It gives it a little bit more dimension, sort of a pearl finish. And of course, this is totally the type of shade that you could try over a lot of other shades as well. Next, we have the shade Lightning Bug, and to me, this looks like a brown toned shade, kind of light tan, and it has pink and golden sparkles. This one leans a little bit more cool toned and is also described as being cool toned in the description of this shade by MAC. And for pretty much all of the other shades that I'm going to try on, they do look good on their own as standalone lip products. I just think that Crown Jewel in particular is meant to be more of a topper shade. And I am layering this shade over Film Noir once again. I chose Film Noir because it's quite deep. It allows you to see the reflex in some of the shades a little bit better. And honestly, I love pairing these type of shades over deep lip tones anyway. I actually really like this combination. I feel like you can really see those gold and pink sparkles. And I feel like it just brings Film Noir to life in a different way. Not that that shade isn't really pretty all on its own, but I love the fact that you can combine these with other lip products and just create something totally new. The next shade we have is called Gemstone, and I have seen this shade likened to the shade Stone and sort of like a pearlized kind of frost version of Stone. Gemstone is basically a cool taupe and it has subtle blue sparkles throughout. To me, the sparkles in this one are very subtle. It's basically just enough to give it a little bit of a sheen. Now, I feel like the shade Stone is one that I tend to need to use as a lip combo, but I absolutely love a cool tone brown. So I was really excited to see Gemstone in the lineup. For me, this is the type of shade that I would pair with a deep brown liner or topped over another shade. And here I am kind of topping it over Film Noir in the center of my lips. You can really see the blue sparkle over Film Noir. So far, I've really liked how all of these shades look as toppers. And I'm really liking that there's multiple ways of using each and every one of these shades. I also feel like a lot of these frost shades are very wearable, especially on a day-to-day basis. I mean, they definitely have some very vibrant shades in the lineup, but they also have a great selection of neutral tones. The next shade we have is called Mauve Matter, and I would describe this as a sort of pinky shade that has golden reflex throughout. This is a mid-tone pink, and you get a fair amount of opacity and depth with the shade. One thing I want to mention is that I do really appreciate that the outer packaging is different from shade to shade, but but I do feel like there's too many shades that have a sort of brown toned exterior, which isn't super helpful for knowing what the shade is going to look like when it's swatched. Just feel like it could have been tweaked a little bit more. When I top this one over Film Noir, I think you can see that golden pearl. You don't get the most obvious transformation with this shade, but it still looks pretty, and Mauve Matter, I actually really like the way it looks as a standalone shade as well. And I do feel that way in general about a lot of the deeper shades in this line. Doing this little experiment with Film Noir really makes me want to play around with layering my lip combos more and more. Okay, the next shade that I have is called Cosmic Plum, and I feel like this shade has already gone kind of viral. And I can understand why, because this is a beautiful neutrals with a twist kind of a shade. I would describe this one as having a brownish mauve base, and it has a really pretty blue reflect throughout. Think of the lip version of the blue-brown duochrome eyeshadow. There is just something so alluring about that tone of shift. I think this is my own personal favorite shade from the whole lineup. It's just truly a perfect everyday shade for me. I also like that the shade isn't too warm toned or too cool toned. When you top this shade over Film Noir, you can really see that blue reflect coming through. To me, it just looks like an even deeper version of Cosmic Plum. And hopefully you can see when I wear it on its own and over top of Film Noir that you have even more blue reflect in this shade as compared to Gemstone, the shade that I swatched and tried on earlier. I feel like I really want to play around with trying this over top of a blue base as well. Okay, next we have the shade Candy Yum Yummy, and this is the brightest shade in the whole lineup. I would describe this as a hot fuchsia pink with a blue purple reflect throughout. You get a very high opacity even on the first swipe. Typically, I really don't go for shades this bright, but there's something so fun about this one. I feel like it's maybe something about the texture and the fact that you can wear these a little bit more sheerly than a typical lipstick. But look how fun this shade is. It's definitely a type of shade that I would want to wear with a more neutral eyeshadow look, just because it is such a statement lip product. And I absolutely was not prepared for how much I would love this over Film Noir. When you use it as a topper, it becomes this absolutely beautiful pinky purple tone shade. And you can see that blue purple reflect really poking through. I honestly couldn't decide which I liked better, this shade on its own or topped over Film Noir. I will probably honestly wear it both ways. Okay, and the last shade I picked up is called Grapeful. I would describe this as a deep plum toned purple shade, and it has golden and pink reflect throughout. I've had some people tell me that it reminds them of the shade On and On from MAC. That was a discontinued Frost lipstick, I believe from the 2010s. But from some of the photos I've seen online, that one does look a little bit cooler toned to me. Like it has a little bit more blue. Actually, this shade reminds me of the shade that I made with Mob Beauty earlier this year called Moonchild. So I'm definitely biased, but I love shades like these. And then topped over Film Noir, it just kind of makes it an even deeper and moodier version of Grapeful. Obviously, you don't need to use any of these shades as toppers, but I thought I would just try all of them over Film Noir since I tried a few as a fun little experiment. I feel like next time I'll try all of these shades over a lighter tone lipstick. I feel like that would be a lot of fun too. I also feel like I didn't realize how much I would enjoy the really bright toned pink Candy Yum Yummy, and now I'm very curious about some of the other brighter shades in the lineup. Something I learned in the process of making a frost lipstick is that making deep frost is actually really hard, because when you mix the frost pigment with deeper pigments, you do lose some of that shine. Here is what all of the shades I picked up look like swatched to my arm. My own favorites from these are Mauve Matter, Cosmic Plum, Candy Yum Yummy, and Grapeful. Although I am pretty curious about some of the other brighter tone shades now as well. I feel like MAC is just having such a great year when it comes to fun and interesting releases. I feel like a lot of that was kickstarted when they brought back their iconic nude lipsticks. Then they had some beautiful eyeshadow sticks and some great capsule collections. In terms of these lip products, I think that these are a really great addition to the lineup. The only thing is that, in my opinion, they are kind of pricey. Each one is $28, and I don't know, I would have loved to see these a little bit closer to the $20 price range. Maybe that's a bit realistic, I don't know, but when I see these, I still kind of see a lip pencil, even though they're a lot more than a lip pencil. We do have some great sales around the corner, and I would expect to see that around the holiday season that these would be included in some of the sales, especially when MAC does their entire site discounted. I do really appreciate the precise applicator that these come in. It makes them really user-friendly, and you don't need a sharpener to dispense more product. And in general, I just really love to see fun makeup coming back. Now that we've had a chance to go through everything, I'd love to hear about what you think of this release and what your favorite shades are. Let me know in the comments. All of the products are linked in the description box. As always, I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.